And one of the questions that Brad Biggs got in the Tribune was, will the Bears be interested in signing free agent Khalil Mack? Do you think he has enough juice left to be considered a counterpart to Montez Sweat at end? So, okay, reasonable question. I'm interested in the answer. And they quote Mack here. Says he's set to enter free agency. I can't imagine he'd be looking to suit up for cheap in 2025. Quote, I don't want to go out with a loss based on who I am, he told reporters in L.A. I definitely want to make that push and play some important games in the playoffs. So Biggs throws this in. I'm not sure he would view the Bears, coming off a 5-win season, as a team that's prepared to make a playoff push this year.
That's fair.
But maybe they could make a compelling pitch to him. So amid all our excitement, amid all of our hope and all of our positivity and our declaration of expectations, mine included, this is probably the most connected Bears observer in the media, saying I'm not sure he would view the Bears as a team that's prepared to make a playoff push.
Well, why would he? I'm confused as to what you're...
Because of everything we've been saying.
I think...
Head coach accounts for enough wins to...
To do what?
Their over-under is going to be...
500.
Yeah,
over 500 doesn't get you in the playoffs, though.
Well, it probably does, based on history.
I would say Joe Burrow tells me differently, but okay. Listen, in this division, I think we're all hopeful that the Bears will be better than they were last year. I think that's a fair hope and expectation, but that might mean a 7-10 season. It might mean an 8-9 season. It's certainly not this is a team that's definitely going to be contending for a playoff spot season.
Well, it's going to depend on what they add.
Yeah. That's fine.
I mean, they've got $64 million roughly in cap space.
But based on what you know, based on how many times we've had this endless conversation about, the Bears look like they've gone out and been the offseason champs and the moves that they've made, there's nothing that says you should believe and not be skeptical that they're doing enough to be a playoff team. Come on. I sound like Dan right now. No, but this is okay. But this is true.
You don't have to be ashamed of that.
No, I'm a little bit ashamed of it. I'm a little bit ashamed. What I'm saying is, I understand why everyone is excited about the Bears. They've done things differently than they've done them in the past. That is step one to being better. I'm with that. I'm all about that. But to say, let's translate that into a winning season / playoff season, that is a bridge too far for me until I see some other things happen. And maybe those things will happen in the draft and in free agency. But I'm here to tell you, because I remember what happened last offseason. Even if things happen in the draft, I was in Detroit when Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze's names were called. Even if they do go out and make a big splash by getting somebody like Keenan Allen to help them, although this time it would be more line help for either the offense or the defense, that's cool. But I need to see them play football. And at no moment when I saw them play football last season did I say, this team is good enough to make the playoffs. I believe I told you, Dan, when they were 4-2, hey, you guys proved you could beat bad teams. Cool. Let's see what happens next. What happened next, Dan?
They lost like 10, I think.
Well, also, they couldn't beat bad teams. That was part of the issue, was they didn't win the part of the schedule that they needed to win. They're going to have a last-place schedule again.
Okay. I refuse to get as excited as y'all apparently want to be about this. I just think what you just read me...
I got excited last year, and I'm excited this year.
No. I'm excited about a new season, a new opportunity, but I refuse to get as excited and amped up about they're ready now. They're good to go now. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they have an opportunity to prove that they're good enough, but I'm not going to sit here and act like Khalil Mack saying I want to go to a team that's competitive and a winner and that he doesn't have the Bears in that category to be flawed logic. I think that's perfectly acceptable logic.
Yeah, I think that there are surefire, more likely playoff teams if Khalil Mack says, I want to go to a playoff team.
Exactly.
The Bears are not a lock for going to the playoffs. I understand that.
Can they do it? Absolutely.
Or Khalil Mack. Or Khalil Mack can say, with me on the team, they're a lock.
Khalil Mack's been on this team before. You know that, right?
I know.
Okay.
But he wasn't on this team
Well,
before.
and when Khalil Mack got
played
on
for
the
this
team, they
franchise
did make
before.
the playoffs.
Well, he might just say, they're a me away. from the playoffs.
I think.
I mean, they were last time.
I think
they just
Khalil
didn't
Mack
do
is
anything in the playoffs, and they got there.
Khalil Mack is in an advanced stage of thought process that Myles Garrett is in. I only got so much time left, and by the way, it's less time than Myles Garrett to get something done.
You know?
I want to make sure I don't waste my energy on a team that is middling. The Bears are middling at best right now.
You know what the problem is too is when you're talking about the division, there are a couple teams that could use Khalil Mack that are playoff teams in the division.
And could use Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons.
I mean,
Yeah.
these are realistic possibilities.
So that's why this affects me not.
Oh, okay. I just found it
Did
interesting.
you? How did it affect you when you read the sentence?
Well, I have said I expect the Bears to make the playoffs this year.
Okay.
You know what? I do too. I was about to cuss on the air. Blanket. I do too.
That's my
Blanket.
expectation. I don't have time to waste with a football team. I don't have time to waste with anything they're doing here. I don't have another growth year, another year of screwing around. My expectation is they make the playoffs this year.
Oh, you're Khalil Mack.
And if Khalil Mack doesn't see that, that's fine. But I certainly think that it wouldn't be a bridge too far for Khalil Mack to be like, you know what they could really use is somebody like Khalil Mack on the edge.
I don't think Khalil Mack wants to be on a team where that's the effect he has. I think he wants to be on a team that is a contender. He's like, I can make sure this team gets to the Super Bowl.
I'm sure you're right. But I'm not going to let that kind of just dissuade me from my idea that I'm not going to wait around and let them have another 6-7 win season.
I'm not saying they should. I think people should be held accountable and let's see what happens. But I just refuse to get as excited as a lot of people are getting. I am excited. I want the people in the city to be happy. Guess what? Bad Bears football makes no one around here happy. I know how grumpy that makes my co-hosts. I know how grumpy that makes the people I interact with on a daily basis just walking up and down the street. I have lived through enough bad seasons that people care about to understand the effect that can have on an entire metropolitan area, all the way out to the suburbs. all the
Marshall,
way in
I've known
Naperville.
you for 10 years now, and it just sounds like you're convincing yourself at this point. Like,
Convincing myself
we
what?
just need to have you sit alone with yourself on the microphone.
Convincing
and go through
myself
it.
of what?
You're trying to convince yourself that it's okay that you said this.
Oh, so, okay, I said
What
what?
do you mean?
Which part?
That you don't think that they're going to make the playoffs.
I didn't say I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. I think the expectation is they will contend for a playoff spot. If they get in, great. If they win a playoff game, awesome. But I think I'm just in a wait and see mode based on everything that's been laid out in front of me from recent history.
Oh, I'm not predicting they're going to make the playoffs. I'm just
Expecting.
my
You're
expectation is that they should.
I mean, this is
That's the standard.
My
fourth
expectation is they
year-
can. How about that?
The
That's the
fourth
difference.
year of the regime change and the second head coach and the second year for the quarterback you drafted first overall.
Yeah, make the damn
That
playoffs
is not
already.
an unrealistic ask.
No, that's absolutely where it should be. I'm
And
not, and I
I'm
could
not saying
say
the result is guaranteed, but you
Right.
should ask it.